To the Point with Michael Williams.
Good morning. I'll be talking with state lawmakers this week and next. My guest today, Palm Beach County Democratic State Senator Lori Berman from District 26. And then next week, Treasure Coast Republican lawmaker Toby Overdorf. And we, as always, welcome you, a familiar face to our viewers over many years. And again, I emphasize we'll have somebody from the other side of the aisle for next week's edition, but plenty to talk about. One of the themes that we've touched on this year a lot, Senator Berman, and I know you've colleagues talk about it with different prescriptions about how to deal with it, affordable housing. There's not a day that goes by we don't hear people saying, I just can't make it, insurance is breaking me. There's been special session after special session. Republicans argue, give it time. We're cracking down on fraud. We're doing other things that will help equalize the market. Your thoughts about where we are, what we're doing, and what more we need to be doing, because it is a cry out there. You know that, of course.
It is, and thank you so much for having me on this morning, Michael. We have seen such a crisis in affordable housing and concomitant with it, the property insurance crisis. We did pass a bill last year called the Live Local bill. We put a lot of money into affordable housing, and I think we're going to see some of the impacts on that. Developers are going to start to do more affordable housing. They're getting very big tax credits if they do affordable housing, and we've also waived some of the zoning and density requirements. On the other side, we're starting to hear from some of the cities and counties that they're a little worried about some of those zoning and height requirements that we are waiving. So we might go back this year and look at that issue. So I do think, part of the Live Local Act, we also gave money for people to have down payment assistance, and they've been using that. So I think you're going to start to see some of the affordable housing as it comes on the market. It takes time. We're building brand new units in a lot of instances.
Will it be too much of a drop in the bucket? I know for Palm Beach County, for instance, $200 million a bond issue, voters had said yay to that, gave it a thumbs up. But people worry that with the need, with so much of the workforce that we all rely on to power our economies, is this a drop in the bucket? Is it nearly
not enough? No, it's not enough, and we need to keep going back, and we need to keep addressing it. But I'm more concerned about the property insurance.
Well, and that's the flip side. When I talk affordable housing, there's the piece that people say, I have nowhere to live, and the flip side, as you so rightly say, that we're also hearing about all the time, we did a town hall on it a few months ago, is that piece where people say, I'm not going to be able to afford to stay there because the property insurance is breaking me. So you have the affordable housing component, and then people said, I just can't afford my bill anymore. Republicans have said we've made changes, we're cutting back on fraud and the like. It'll make a difference. Thoughts?
I don't think we've done enough on property insurance. We've been trying for so many years. In all my years in the legislature, we try and address it, and we're not the experts, and we just haven't gotten to where we are. Ask anybody, are they happy with their property insurance? But so what I have proposed a bill this year, and we'll see what happens. And we did it in 2008. We formed a commission. We got all the stakeholders together. We brought, the insurers, the roofers, the public adjusters, the reinsurers, the trial attorneys, the consumers. Bring everybody on a commission and let them give us suggestions, because we as legislators have failed on this issue.
Republicans argued we're not giving it enough time, and for Democrats to say that, they're saying, among other things, massive fraud in the system. They say we're cutting down on those kind of issues and assignability of benefits, the things like
the tort reform that we did. I question it. I really question whether those things are going to lead to a lower price. I mean, they also said when we gave $2 million for reinsurance, that was going to lead to lower rates, and it's been the exact opposite.
If you had one prescription that you think has to be at the core of what you're doing, $2 billion at the core of what you're doing, what would it be?
One prescription?
When you get this group together that you'd love to see, what do you think has to be at the core of that to break this logjam for people in their pocketbooks?
That's a really good question, and that's why I want the group to give me the answer. I don't know what the answer is. We've been doing it for very long in Tallahassee, and we're not getting anywhere. One of the things I like is telling the insurance companies, if you come in the state, you have to write, if you're going to write auto, you have to write homeowners. Things like that, so that we can bring people back in. Really, my real solution for all of this is a national solution, and we can't do that alone in Florida, and that's to get a national catastrophic fund, just like we have with flood insurance. Everybody pays into it over the country, and then you take the hurricanes out of the equation, and then the insurance in the state could become a lower rate.
Spread the risk nationally.
Exactly, exactly. That's my, that would be my ideal, but that has to happen at a congressional level.
Let's talk legislative sessions and be here before we know it. You were up for a special session. You've been back for committee meetings. Give us a thumbnail about where we're headed, priorities for you, where you see us going on into the new year.
Yeah, so our Speaker, our Senate President has said that her priority is health care this year, which is great. I'm happy to see that we're going to address it. She's focusing on the issue. Yes, Senator Pasadomo.
Republican-led Senate.
Exactly. She's focusing on the issue of health care providers. She says our population is growing here in the state, which it is, and we're not going to have enough health care providers. So we're going to look at some ideas about what we can do. I'm especially concerned about the rural areas. We seem to do, a lot of doctors want to come to the big areas, but the rural areas have been very underserved. But I do feel like what another area we should be discussing as part of healthcare, and we are not, is what's going on right now with Medicaid.
I was just about to ask you.
Yeah, so we have hundreds of thousands of people who we have dropped from Medicaid rolls because they were on the rolls because of the COVID crisis. They were allowed to stay on the rolls. Now they've been dropped. The number is something like over 200,000 children right now who do not have insurance in the state of Florida. We need to figure out what we're going to do. I've always advocated for Medicaid expansion. 40 other states have it. Florida is becoming more and more of an outlier. And if we had Medicaid expansion, all these people would get Medicaid. But if we're not going to do that, then let's at least make sure that the people who we just dropped, a lot of them are eligible, and they don't know that.
Is that something you think will absolutely, for the Democratic point of view, be a hard push as we get into session?
I mean,
and it's going to have to be a hard push because Republicans have been resistant to that.
Right. We've done it every year. We've tried to push for it. I think it's interesting that more and more states, including red states, are going for Medicaid expansion. And I do believe that at some point the pendulum will switch. I just don't know when it'll happen.
But it'll be a push, we'll hear from Democrats, at least to put the argument front and center.
I mean, I would love to see us put it on the ballot, but it won't be on the ballot in 2024 because it's too late for that now.
I know there's so many topics we can talk about going on into the new year, about abortion access, how it will drive elections. We've talked about that before, but we always have limited time, and those are topics we will take up, that and many other things in the new year. But I do want to talk right now about the growing worries about the rise of anti-Semitism. You took up, talk about what you did in the legislative session, a special session recently, about your broader concerns.
Yeah, so we had a special session last week, and one of the things we did was pass a resolution from the state of Florida, and it says 4 things. It says that we condemn Hamas for the attack, that we recognize Israel as a sovereign state, that we recognize Israel's right to defend itself, that we will not fund terrorism, and I guess we have a 5th thing, and that is that we denounce anti-Semitism. So I was really happy and proud to be the sponsor of that resolution. And you know what? Words matter. And we're telling everyone in the world, this is where Florida is on these issues.
Correct me if I'm wrong, though. I think last night today saw that there's a bill going to be afloat about that if you voice support for a terrorist organization, you can get the boot from our college campuses.
I have not seen the specifics of that bill. I mean, there are some free speech concerns, and so I would have to look at the specifics. I do also have a bill that has been filed to define anti-Semitism in the state of Florida. It is based on the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance. They put forth a definition of anti-Semitism in 2016. Lots of other countries and states have put it in effect, and I believe that in Florida this year we will also. This bill is very likely to get passed where we will define anti-Semitism, and the reason why you need to define it is so that people know who, especially law enforcement, when they're looking at hate crimes.
Define it.
So the way this bill is defined is if.
How do you define it?
The way I like the definition that we passed, and that is you look at examples of specific items and you can see. So some of the things that are examples of anti-Semitism: accusing Jewish Americans of dual loyalty, denying the Holocaust, denying the existence of the right of the State of Israel. Certainly the language that we've seen lately, some of it is clearly anti-Semitism, saying gas the Jews, those are clear. But there are more subtle things, asking Israel to do something that you don't ask anyone else to do. That's anti-Semitism.
There's a chasm growing. We saw outside Democratic National Committee headquarters the other night, protesters arguing for a ceasefire immediately in the Israel-Hamas war. We've heard many people who are or are nominally Democrats across the country arguing for the same thing, saying, you hear Palestinians arguing, we're the ones being punished for the sins of Hamas. Speak to that criticism, speak to those calls for a ceasefire.
Yeah, I mean, certainly my heart is heavy for the Palestinians who don't support Hamas.
Right.
And for the loss of life that we've seen in Gaza. But I think we need to recognize that what Hamas did is atrocious. There is simply no justification for beheading people, raping people, putting them on display. And
kidnapping children, killing children.
Right, exactly. There is no justification for that. We need to recognize that, and that Israel has to be able to defend itself, and giving a ceasefire at this point in time will be counterproductive to that. So it's a really tough situation, but I think we, in the resolution we passed in the Florida legislature, we recognize that Israel has the right to defend itself and has to do it right now. And they do have humanitarian breaks during the day for people to leave, but right now a ceasefire is not the way to move forward.
Senator Lori Berman, I always humbly acknowledge there's so many important topics we could talk about, and we at least hope that we give viewers through appearances by people like you to give them some sense of the focus of next year. And we will have the Republican view next week. But as always, thank you for being my guest on To The Point. Always appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Always happy to be here.
And happy Thanksgiving time to you and yours.
Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
All right, we'll be back next with the Roundtable and Brian Crowley.